for cellists, especially. And I mean, for us, I feel like a lot of the tendencies is neck, shoulders, because we're like crouching on top of the instrument, lower back. Those are the places, and hips. Well, that I just talked about everything that could be tense, I guess, but I feel like those are the places that you can get really tense. But the point is, the tendency is this when we play. And that's the ironic thing. It's actually your sound gets better when you're like this, when you're like this, like open heart in yoga, right? Literally, and actually I have to fight with myself about this, because the tendency is that when I get intense, you know, like
Yeah.
you have to go this way, and it's amazing. There's a huge difference in sound, and how your posture is. So like, yeah, I mean, you have to really take care of yourself by doing yoga. But also another way to take care of yourself is to be really, I think, what's the word? Observant, very observant while you're playing what your body's doing. And I feel like I've been doing that my entire life. Like, mirror is also your best friend. I have a mirror right in the back. This big mirror is my friend, because you can see a lot while you're practicing. And also your body is always trying to tell you something. Like when you feel the tension, when you feel something is tense, when something hurts, that's your body trying to tell you, pay attention, something is not quite right. So your body will tell you with how tense it is, or even worse. Well, first it comes like, first is how tense, you know, you feel, the tension. That's the first warning. But if you ignore the tension from your body, what comes after that is pain. Like a little bit of pain. But then if you keep ignoring it, then there's tendinitis. Yeah. So you have to really pay attention. The first sign when it's like, oh, tension, you're like, okay, my body is saying something. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to take it easy here. This is what I'm doing. What am I doing? Is my arm this? You look and analyze. And then second step is to take care of your body. Like really go and do stretches before and after. Take plenty of breaks in between your practice. Like, you know, if you have to take every 15 minutes, and you'd be surprised by how much you can get done in 20 minutes. I used to be like, I don't have time to practice, I only have 20 minutes. But actually, you can get a lot done. You just can work on 2 little phrases in 20 minutes, and then the whole piece sounds better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think as you get more experience, you know, I felt after my kids were born that I had to be much more efficient with my practicing, because
you only have so many hours, right? You only have so many hours, you have to use it well.
Yeah, no, they are sleeping now. Now I can do it. So it has to work right now. Wendy, just a funny story I want to share with you before the last question. You know, you're playing with the scordatura, and once I got the parts for the Renastera concerto from Mark Castlewer.
Wow.
And I went to play it in São Paulo. It's a wonderful piece, very complicated. And during the concert, my G string came down an octave. And I was like, what do I do now?
Rehearsal or concert?
Concert.
In the concert?
At the concert. And I said, well, I have 30 more seconds of playing. I'm going to transpose a little bit, then I have like 30 seconds to retune. And, I just transposed and couldn't play a few of the things, of course, because they were impossible. And then after the concert, a good friend of mine who's a great composer, he said, the scordatura effect in the Renastera is just superb. I said, well... and then I was glad that I kept playing, because I was thinking like, maybe I should stop, or so, maybe always go on no matter what. But Wendy, one of the things that I'm curious, our university here in Natal, we are at an association which is really wonderful called Glomus. and there are universities from all over the world, including African universities, Asian, and we meet every 2 years. And one thing that I learned in these encounters was to appreciate all kinds of music and learn how rich the traditions are. And in your repertoire, do you have any songs that you play or pieces that you heard in your childhood in Hong Kong or?
Oh, well, again, it's funny that you asked me that. You must be psychic. Because I do exactly what you asked. Yes. Well, okay, so let's go back a little bit in terms of what I talked about at the very beginning of my conversation about classical jam and how we had a very interesting combination of people, and we also play in different different combinations. So like it's not always flute, violin, violoncello, and percussion. Sometimes we add a piano, sometimes we add like a flute, this Japanese flute, shakuhachi I think it's called. And sometimes we collaborate with, we just have different collaborations, right? And different combinations. And because of the unusualness of our ensemble, unusual in terms of it's not a classical setting, we're forced to either make up our own music or play and transcribe other music. And also, because we have percussion, we want to use it for especially the Latin stuff. And our flute player, Marco Granados, I don't know if you know him, he's from Venezuela. And he was in our group for many years. And so he brought in some of his music and a lot of Venezuelan music and Latin music into the group. And we also did a lot of did a whole tango series, so so the point is, like, because of that, because of classical jam, we were able to infuse a lot of different styles of music. And that also got me very interested. It's like, how do you continue to promote the big umbrella of classical music, right? I have to say this, because now classical music does not just mean Mozart, Beethoven. It means the tradition of classical music, but with a new and global language. I think that's where music is going, or we should call it, some people suggest to call it concert music. It's played in concert, or now we can say it's, I don't know, streaming online music. I don't know. But anyway, the point is the language, the musical language has become much wider. And there's a wider palette of colors to choose from, which I think is more exciting. But, you have to be also, there's always the purists who are like, no, just Beethoven and Bach and that's it. But it's like, there's so much richness. And like, of course, in Brazilian music, which I admire so much. And then also a lot of different countries. And for me, to answer your question, I do like to include like a global sound, like mix of genres, but still present it in a classical style, if you will.
Right.
So for example, in my last concert, I would bring in like Take the A Train, do a little bit improv, and I did Oye Como Va, I have a video on YouTube about that. I did that, and I did some improv, and then I also brought in a piece recently, a couple of pieces that are popular tunes from Hong Kong, which is where I'm from.
Awesome.
So I just play it on the cello with piano, and it's really nice. People really like it. So, I mean, I just think, I do think this is the future of music too. It's this global sound. So I think it's fascinating. It also depends on how we communicate that. I remember people used to hate, and I used to hate this word called crossover. I still don't really like this word crossover, because I think when you say crossover, it's like as if you're cheapening what you do as a classical musician. But really what we're doing is widening our palette of sounds and our language. That's what we're doing. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of possibilities for the future, and I would love to hear more like Brazilian composers, for example. You know, I would love. Oh, I do have a confession. I have not visited Brazil yet, and that is on my bucket list. So I really hope that one day I can visit Brazil.
Well, there are lots of comments here that when is Wendy coming to Natal? So I read quite a few already, and I'm sure you're gonna love Natal when you come here. Wendy, I think Instagram is gonna cut us short very soon, but I want to thank you so much for your time, and this was, you know, so many interesting thoughts for us cellists and everybody who participated. And I hope we can do it again. And you know, it was a lot of fun seeing you again. And
I know we will stay in touch for sure. And I want to hear all about your work. And I'm hearing that you're doing great work in Brazil, so that is fantastic.
Yes, and I hope, yeah, I hope you're gonna come here soon. And also, we have to have a Krosnick reunion in New York at some point, you know, after 20 years. That would be fun.
Absolutely.
Getting all the crowd together.
We should have an online Krosnick reunion. We might have to get some classmates and do something.
Wonderful. That's a great idea.
Like you, me, Sube, Mark Kassauer. I can think of more. Theodore. There's a lot of us.
Alyssa. Who else was there? Yes. This would be fun.
Lisa Weilerstein was in.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of us. It'll be fun.
Yes. Well, thank you, Wendy.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon. Maybe tonight, 8 o'clock.
Tonight.
Fine.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.